We're beginning our coverage right now in tribute to the life of Clermont County Sheriff's Deputy Bill Brewer.
The procession is leaving the funeral home now, as you can see here in our live video. It is headed for Mount Carmel Christian Church, where this morning's service will be held, and that's the hearse carrying the body of the fallen hero, Detective Bill Brewer.
Perry Shibley is live outside the funeral home on Ohio Pike. Perry.
Yeah, Bob, I'm going to stay out of the picture so you can see exactly what is happening. This is just heartbreaking scene. It's so hard to watch, just imagining what these people are going through. So tough for them. You can see the police officers, troopers, deputies lined up in the middle of the street saluting as the hearse drove by. It was accompanied by several police officers on motorcycles, and you got to imagine a lot of people in these cars behind them. Not only are they family and friends, but they're also first responders who have to wake up today, tomorrow, the next day, and put that uniform back on and do all this again, knowing the firsthand the danger that's out there. So, you know, they have a long day ahead of them. It's going to be very ceremonial. Like you said, they're making their way to Mount Carmel Christian Church right now, where there's going to be a private funeral. That funeral starts at 11 o'clock, and then there's going to be the procession, and they're really asking that a lot of people line that procession route because they want the general public to get their chance to pay their respects for everything that they do. And they do it so well for all of us, day in and day out. And, you know, sometimes I think that's easy to forget, but at days like this, it's certainly in the forefront. Back to you guys.
And you have to remember, too, that these officers, troopers, deputies, they're standing out in 20-degree weather right now in their dress uniforms to show the sacrifice that Detective Bill Brewer made.
To give him the respect that he has earned.
Mm-hmm. And the community will do that as well. They'll not only line this processional route, but when it also goes from the church to the cemetery a little bit later on, you know you'll see the same thing.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about that route a lot this morning. We know Adam right now, Adam Clements, is out at the church, and he can give us a feel for what things are like at that scene. Adam?
Yeah, Bob, it's pretty quiet here right now. We have a whole slew of fire engines and first responders starting to make their way here in the parking lot. We're actually across the street from the church. We're at the West Clermont High School right now. This is where all of the first responders will be parking. They have ample parking here, but again, that is just for first responders who will be coming in. I don't know if you've been able to check in. Angela Ingram is actually driving down with first responders from the Dayton area, and she's in a caravan of about 70, I would say 70 to 100 vehicles all coming down. The church right behind me here, they're gearing up. Waiting. I want to bring in Scott Spiker with the West Clermont School District. And Scott, this is something of this magnitude obviously takes a great deal of coordinating, not only with places like the West Clermont High School here, but also with first responders, the fire department. You have all of these different police departments and jurisdictions, sheriff's offices, all coming together. From a logistics standpoint, how challenging is it to make sure that everything is perfect for this?
Well, it's taken a lot of collaboration and coordination, not only with the Sheriff's Office, but the Union Township Police Department, and it's something that we're proud to do. Today is all about honoring Detective Brewer, making sure we're honoring his sacrifice and his legacy and what he did for this community. He was a proud community member here in Clermont County, and it's really impressive to see, and you're from out this way, to watch this community come together and the way they've supported Detective Brewer and his family and the Sheriff's Office, and to say thank you and to let his family know that you are not alone in this at all. It's been impressive to watch. All the first responders will be here at West Clermont High School today. We are streaming the service inside of our auditorium and the cafeteria. Any overflow first responders that can't fit here at the high school, we are sending them down the street to West Clermont Middle School. We have the service streaming at 3 different locations inside of the middle school today. The public's welcome at West Clermont Middle School as well. And then we're also thankful for Crossroads chipping in and helping out today. The public can go to Crossroads and view the service as well. So it is a true community-wide effort to make sure we're honoring Detective Brewer today.
It really is. And you mentioned West Clermont Middle School. That is the former Amelia High School, correct?
That's correct. It's a campus of Amelia High School and Middle School that we combined into West Clermont Middle School. And yes, so we'll have 3 different locations inside the middle school to make sure anybody that wants to show up and see that service, we can take care of them today.
And Scott, we talked about this community. This West Clermont community, this Clermont County community is such a tight-knit area, because when you talk about these police departments and these fire departments, you're talking about a cluster of really small town jurisdictions, to where when something like this happens, to say it hits close to home would be an understatement.
Absolutely. When you have Union Township and the Village of Amelia and Pierce Township and the Sheriff's Office and even the State Highway Patrol has a branch out here, but when something like this happens, it just doesn't hit home here in the community. This is nationwide. In our conversations with the Sheriff's Office, they've heard from as far away as Las Vegas that people are coming in to pay their respect to Detective Brewer. The law enforcement, the first responder community is a very tight-knit group, and when one of their own goes down the line of duty, they do everything they can to make sure they support each other, they wrap their arms around each other, and that's what today's all about.
Scott, and if you're just now joining us, we are awaiting that procession that we've learned is on its way here from the funeral home, which is in Amelia on State Route 125. They should be arriving here momentarily. While we are here, is there any instruction for people? Obviously, people want to pay their respects, but we want to make sure that everyone does it safely. I would imagine that there are going to be people who want to come out and line the streets and say thank you, salute and pay their respects to Detective Brewer. What advice or instruction would you give those people?
Well, the biggest thing is the roads around the high school and the middle school will close around 10 a.m. So if you're not in this area to view the services at the middle school, if you're part of the public, you won't get here to the middle school or to the high school. The high school is first responders only. So every vehicle here will be in the processional. So whether it be fire, whether it be EMS, whether it be police, whether it be Sheriff's Office, SWAT vehicles, those will all be staged here at the high school. And then they'll leave when the procession leaves the church. The route's been posted everywhere. I know you guys have shared it over your air and on your website. What I recommend to people is make sure you're getting into your spots early, because as that procession starts leaving, every road that procession follows is going to be shut down for a time. And obviously, this community, there's going to be a large outpouring of support for Detective Brewer, and people just want to say thank you for what he's done for this community.
Well, I was just speaking with a relative of mine who was here earlier this morning, works for Union Township, but told me that he was out on the roads, and he said there are probably fewer people out on the roads than on Christmas Day right now. And that just goes to show you kind of what we've been talking about. The world stops today in Clermont County. It stops for these people, the people who live here, the people who were protected by Detective Brewer and all of these other first responders. And that just kind of speaks to the unity that this is today. This is what's happening today, and this is all that's happening today.
This is a very unique place in my mind, and it's what makes Clermont County such a great place to be. It is such a tight-knit community, regardless if you're from Pierce Township, regardless if you're from Amelia or Glen Estee, or even out towards Clermont Northeast, Batavia, areas like that. People want to wrap their arms around each other. This community supports each other, and that's what makes it such a special place to be. And especially at a time like this, when we get to lean into our first responders and show them the appreciation that we should show them every day, but we really get to show it to them today and let them know they're not alone in this process.
And it's an unfortunate reminder to say thank you. I believe our anchors are standing by in the studio. I don't know did you guys have a question?
Yeah, Adam, I just wanted to talk with you about the support from other departments that the Clermont County Sheriff's Department is receiving, because we talked about this when Officer Dale Woods died. Other departments have to come and sort of fill in and do the work for them so that they're able to take this time and grieve and show their respect for Detective Brewer.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we've seen I believe the Norwood Police Department is going to be chipping in, the Cincinnati Police Department helping out a little bit. We're talking of these other jurisdictions that are really coming in to bear the load of the departments who will be here, such as the Sheriff's Office and Union Township Police, who are kind of picking up the slack. That's another thing that we see on days like this.
Well, in our conversations with the Sheriff's Office, there are different jurisdictions coming in to help run the jail for them. There are different jurisdictions coming in to make sure that their patrols and their runs are still covered, so that their personnel can make sure they come here and pay their respects to Detective Brewer, but everything still runs in the county, and that's a really big piece of that. And it's really another sign of great collaboration between all the agencies, whether it be the county, whether it be the state level, whether it be the school district, everybody coming together to make sure this is the first class event that it should be to support Detective Brewer and his family.
It is the epitome and the definition of the long blue line.
No question, and we're really proud here to have today at both the high school and the middle school that there are mental health professionals as well from Warren County and the Cincinnati Police Department, that if there are any first responders here that are having difficulty in dealing with this particular situation, that they can get the help and the response that they need.
And I believe that the procession is now making its way here. Scott, thank you so much for joining us here today. We will just, we're gonna stop talking here for a moment and pay this the respect that it deserves. So eternals.
All right, once again, the body of Detective Bill Brewer has been brought to the church there, where there will be a private ceremony, a private viewing by his family before there is a service at 11 o'clock. We have followed the procession from the funeral home here to Mount Carmel Christian Church, where the services will be held. Adam had actually noted about the number of police officers who will back up the department there in Clermont County. That does not account for the coalescing of police departments from all over the country that will be here to represent what they know the sacrifice this man has given in service to his community. Angela Ingram has been following the caravan from Dayton, and she's got pictures on her Twitter account that show more than 70 vehicles in that caravan, and they should be arriving shortly as well.
And it's not just it is of course to honor Detective Bill Brewer, but also to show that his family is supported. He leaves behind his wife Julie and a 5-year-old son named Braxton. So it's to give them support and comfort today as well. Having a little trouble seeing what's happening here, but you see law enforcement officers there approaching the hearse, and in ceremony they will carry Detective Brewer into the church for his funeral. A reminder, we will bring you live coverage of Deputy Bill Brewer's funeral service and the procession afterward starting at around 11 this morning. The service at the church is for family and service personnel only, so our coverage will also be streamed live to Crossroads East Side.
Now, since the timing of our coverage is fluid, today's episodes of The Young and the Restless and The Bold and the Beautiful will be seen at their regular times, but on channel 12.2, that's the CW Cincinnati.
The procession following Deputy Brewer's funeral service will be lengthy. It will pass by the Batavia substation where he worked for many, many years, travel into Batavia, then up 32 to I-275. It will go down to Beachmont Avenue, eventually ending at the Pierce Township Cemetery. The West Clermont, Batavia, New Richmond, and Williamsburg schools are all closed today, as students are being urged to line that route to pay their respects. The procession could have as many as 1,000 vehicles. We have all of today's events covered for you on Local 12 and online at local12.com. We'll be right back.